Welcome back. Now, in a turn of events, the Ghanaian Cedi has gone from being one of the world's worst performing currencies to being ranked as the world's best performing currency. This as the unit made significant gains against the dollar this year, as much as 50%. Dipo Ajayi, head of fixed income at Chapel Hill Denham, joins us with his analysis of the Cedi's performance and the factors driving it. Dipo, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. And I guess let's start there. The factors driving this rally we are seeing in the Ghanaian Cedi.
Well, if you look at what happened years back, around 2022, 2023, you'll notice that Ghanaian Cedi was one of the worst performing currency globally. And that's caused from a lot of issues that were happening on the issuances and local borrowing and international borrowing. But what we have seen since last year was more like a great reform on the part of the Ghanaian government. And what we have seen is that the Ghana government went under IMF for more like a more disciplined approach to actually revive the economy. And since then, what we have seen improved investors' sentiment in Ghana. And if you look at what happened in year 2024, their gold exports went up as high as about $11.4 billion compared to an average of about $7.6 billion. That's more like in 2023. So it means that the effect generating capacity of the government has actually improved aggressively, and that actually helped them in actually achieving that feat. And also, aside that also, you would notice that since 2022, the Ghanaian central bank has been actually operating more like an hawkish policy. Where we noticed that interest rates went as high as 40% in Ghana. And that about that particular point in time, inflation was north of 50%. But they never stopped continue to actually tighten the economy. Just in the month of March, despite the fact that the policy rate was 28%, inflation was about 22%, but they still went up to actually increase rate by another 100 basis points. These are some of the things that foreign investors saw that actually lured them into the Ghana environment. And so they've been enjoying aggressive influx of FX investment into the economy. And this is one of the reasons why we've seen that improve performance of their currency.
So improved confidence as well as better, or rather optimism, giving the Ghanaian Cedi a boost. On the flip side, we also do have a weaker dollar, Dipo. How much of that is also playing into the strength we've been seeing?
Well, like I said to you, I told you that they've been enjoying a lot of things. Gold prices on the high, so that's actually been helping them. As we speak currently, the Ghanaian government reserve is currently at $11.4 billion. That's more like is one of the highest that we've seen in the recent past. And also, don't forget that this is a country that was trying to actually ask for debt forgiveness some years ago. And you can see the way at which they are bouncing back. And this is one of the things that actually spurring that level of interest that we are actually seeing in Ghana. And also, like I mentioned, that they went on IMF policies. They enjoyed about $3 billion from IMF, like a support to actually help bring back the economy back to life. If you sum all these things together, I think what it would mean is more like a more fiscal disciplined country. Because as we speak currently, the country is trying to actually cut excessive. They are aggressively working at actually reducing waste. And at the same time, they are doing everything to actually ensure that they put Ghana in the eyes of everybody globally. Look at their interest return on investment. It's actually very high. And look at it from a country that has been enjoying aggressive appreciation of currency. So all these are some of the things that is actually aggressively bringing a lot of people to the Ghanaian environment so as to take advantage of the available investments in their client.
You spoke about the government and some of the reforms that they are implementing, Dipo. Just talk to me about how much that has started filtering through into the economy, or, really filtering through into the economy, and we're seeing that starting to provide returns.
Well, what that has done is that it has created more like a liquid FX market. Before now, you tend to see the central bank coming back, coming to the market intermittently to actually support the market. But what we are seeing now is that we have seen more like a market where the central bank does not even necessarily need to intervene because there's a lot of inflow coming into the market. And like I mentioned earlier on, we have seen increase in the reserve, and that is also a function of the level of influx of FX into the market. So I will sum everything around the fact that all these changes that we are seeing is as a result of the perception of the Ghana environment for investors. Because that's one of the key things. No matter how much level of return you have in your economy, if investors don't perceive you as you are doing the right thing, that will actually bring them on. Of course, you don't see them come into market. We'll see this thing happen in Nigeria at a time when we have multi-windows for FX. A lot of investors believe in Nigeria, but because of what we were doing at that particular point in time, nobody want to come into Nigerian space because you know that you ended up having huge exchange loss. But exactly what is happening in Ghana now, it has actually reinforced that acceptance globally from most of the foreign investors. That's one of the reasons why we continue to see interest in Ghana. And I think that if Ghana can continue in this stride, this will look more like the beginning because a lot of investors will want to come in. And also they are becoming more innovative around most of their natural assets in terms of gold and other things. So they need to actually just continue in this stride. And I'm telling you, the country will actually bounce back aggressively.
And from what you're saying, I can gather that you're quite positive on Ghana. So do you think that the gains we are seeing in the Cedi in particular are sustainable?
Well, for me, I think as we speak currently, bearing any exogenous factors, I think is something they can actually continue around. Because don't forget, I mentioned that it's more like they're back on aggressive fiscal discipline. And of course, when you go under IMF program, you know there's a lot of things that IMF required to do. And that's some of the things they are doing. Cut excesses, ensure that you cut cost of governance. And these are some of the things that the Ghana government is currently doing. And also, and I think their new president also is in aggressive support of some of these reform policies. And that is actually getting more acceptance globally. So I think that this will continue if Ghana can actually continue in this track. If they fail to actually, if they don't get to a level where they actually throw caution to the winds, they will continue to enjoy this level of patronage. But the flip side is that don't also forget that we are now in a global economy where global policy can actually thwart some of these gains. Remember how the tariff increase actually impact global economy just within weeks. So I think they also need to actually continue to beef up their reserve so that when the rainy day comes, they can actually help give funds to investors that actually want to leave the market at that particular point in time. Because what this will do is that it will reinforce confidence in their market. Investors does not want to get to a level where they need to actually exit your market. And that's when you are now trying to actually ration dollars to them. It will not speak well. So I feel this is a very good time that the Ghana government needs to be very careful in terms of actually spending aggressively. They need to actually find a way to actually continue to build reserve. So when the rainy days come, they have what to actually meet some of those obligations at that particular point in time.
And with that being said, right, with the optimism playing out in Ghana as well as those global risks at play, where are you pegging the Cedi for the year?
Well, I would say that I don't think that the game will continue sporadically the way it's going. I think because of markets, but I think I won't be surprised to see this settles for around $13 to $1 at the end of the year.
All right, Dipo, thanks so much for your time and joining us this afternoon. That was Dipo Ajayi, Head of Fixed Income at Chapel Hill Denham.